Nuln Oil Wash. Now, as you can see, well, you might not be able to see it, but sometimes I noticed that when I was doing my Chaos Lord, you have the blue, silver, the metallic blue will look really shiny still when you first put the wash on, but when you after it dries, it'll darken, and it'll look like how I've got the Tactical Marines done up. Excuse me. And then I will so then the next step, which I won't do right this second, I'll let that stuff dry, is for these guys, the base. I use this. Oops. I use this. Let's see if we can find it. If I can find it. Yeah, I use this German camo black brown. I've used that for quite a few of my bases to paint as like a base coat. No pun intended, I guess. And then I think, oh yeah, and then this guy, I think I'm gonna need to touch up, and this looks like a gray, like a piece of concrete. So I think I'll go ahead and do that now. I got some gray on the palette, so I'll go ahead and paint that in as some piece of rubble that's holding him up, basically holding the model up. And yeah, just do a quick paint like that. Okay. And then my basing stuff, I have a little tub of Citadel sand I bought when I first started painting Warhammer stuff, but I've since mixed it with some Hobby Lobby grass stuff. So the wash, I'm gonna let that wash dry before I paint the base. And then, well, since I kind of started in the middle of one, I'll go ahead and start on this guy. We got another Raptor. He's got a plasma pistol. So let's get him on the little pedestal thing. Gonna get out the Thalasson's blue. And yes, I generally paint from the pot with this stuff, but what I do, take it out and put a little bit on the palette, or not at all. I mean, sometimes I just like to do this, or I just kind of make sure there's not as much. But something I learned from doing like oil painting, or canvas traditional painting, is just the value of like picking up the paint and then like using what you have on one surface and moving it around. I mean, maybe I'm sure there's miniature painters that know that too. It's just where I learned it. There's one thing about YouTube. I haven't experienced it too much, but it's like people really, you have to use really specific wording for everything, or sometimes people really jump on you. Haven't had that problem, so too much famous last words, I guess. So I'm just going to get these base coats, and right now I'm not too worried about it getting on the other, like the trim and stuff. Seems like you make yourself crazy trying to paint within the lines on this step, but I'm going to avoid it a little bit. But it's not that hard to paint over with the silver. Okay, gotta keep going. Okay, sorry about the dead air there. Just trying to concentrate and get the. Okay, we've got getting some of those base coats on, and this is a really nice color, I have to say. Thousand Suns is another interesting Chaos faction in 40k. The Khorne stuff never really interested me because they kind of dumbed down the background on Khorne. And on Nurgle, not too much a fan of all that decay stuff. But Thousand Suns, when the stuff is well written and they're kind of interesting villains, that's what I like. And Alpha Legion, Night Lords are kind of like that. Although Konrad Curze and the Heresy novels, it's just totally crazy. I was reading Unremembered Empire, finished that, the audiobook of that recently, and Curze is definitely crazy. And then I have also been finishing up the first book in the Night Lords trilogy by Aaron Dembski Bowden. Another good book series. Really enjoy that one. So working on the backpack, and and the way I've been doing this is, you don't really need to get perfect coverage, because the metallic paint is going to do more of the heavy lifting, so to speak. But let's get this bottom section of the backpack filled in. And doing this top joint thing, and then this little armored, whatever that is, the back collar thing. Oh, and how can we forget about the helmet? Yeah, this helmet face is mostly trim, so we're going to be turning to the back. it's hard to tell, but it looks like actually the face of his armor is not trim. So I think I'll go ahead and actually just paint over this. I mean, the good thing about the trim on these guys is, you know, like I said, you can do the base coat color and, you know, the trim and then the metallic paint will really just cover over whatever you've got. This is just to give like a blue foundation. Let's get these armor panels. And the hands. And get some of these other little crevice areas with the blue. Another color you could probably use as if you wanted maybe a lighter tone with the metallic is this one. I use this as like a base coat for some things. Calidor Sky. Or heck, you could even probably use, this is more of a turquoise, but this Vallejo blue-green might also work. That's a really nice color. But I wanted something sort of as a midpoint between like an ultramarine blue and like a full-on like teal turquoise, because it's not really how I wanted them to come out. So yeah, fill this in, and again, I don't think it's a huge deal if you hit some of these little trim areas in this step, because you're just gonna paint over top of it with the trim color later. This video's gone on pretty long. Kind of just wanted to film a hangout type video anyway. But I'll just do this shoulder pad real quick. Yeah, the paint's going on kind of heavy, but that's why I'm going to pick it up and use it on other surfaces. So let's get that section and use the gun on one of these larger surfaces. I forgot to do his hand there, so I'm going to have to go back and do that real quick, but let's get this shoulder pad trim. These shoulder pads are really big. And get some of these, get like the, whatever this is on the backpack. And we'll get the chain sword as well. I like to do the handguards on these Chaos chain swords in like a brass, like a kind of a brass knuckles idea, or like a trench knife maybe. Definitely prefer the look of these like true scaled Marines to the Primaris Marines, which I'm not a fan of. The Gundam Marines. I think that would have been a better route to take than this like really kind of sanitized looking Space Marine anyway. Okay, so I will brush in those straps for the pack, and I think at this point you get the idea. A lot of armor trim, so I'll go ahead and wrap this up here. I mean, I'm still going to work on this model, obviously, but I think at this point you get the idea, if you're even watching this far into the video, what to do. So, yep, that's like the first steps, you know, Thousand Suns blue trim with this steel sort of shade. And then, you know, the next steps would be adding, you know, some brass kind of accents if you wanted to. I like to do that to break up the steel color, you know, doing the different trim, doing a little bit of an energy type effect on the plasma pistol, and all that. So, all right, well, this has been a long video, longest one on the channel so far, I think. So, I hope you enjoyed it, or, you know, got something out of it, and would like to do this again, I think, if people like it, and, you know, would prefer to do them in a live format, obviously, but anyway, this is kind of an experiment, so hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you next time.